Sounds good. Thank you.
As soon as I get the green light here. All right, we've started recording. Well, thanks everybody for coming out to the virtual public meeting on 15th Street Pump Station and Sewer Separation. I'm going to mute Joel. All right. With us today, we have Brian Hess, KC Water Smart Sewer Division Head, Willie Williams, Project Manager, Burns McDonald, and our program team, the Smart Sewer Program, Colleen Connor with George Butler Associates, Joel Turnham, also with GBA, and Chris Johnson with our construction contractor, She Digs It. Just to go over a couple quick logistics and protocols, like I mentioned, this meeting is being recorded. The recording will be posted on the Smart Sewer Program website, kcsmartsewer.us. And we invite you to raise your hand and ask a question at any time throughout this. We'll also have a question and answer session at the very end, but please feel free to use the raise your hand feature. And also, you're invited to put questions in the chat, and I know our program team will be monitoring the chat, answering any questions. And we like to start any meeting by telling everybody what they're supposed to learn and get out of this meeting, so you can check for these things along the way. So hopefully you'll have a better understanding of your community's sewer system and the infrastructure in your neighborhood. Yeah.
Can you did you have some slides for this?
Oh man, what happened, Brian?
That's all right.
Let me go back a little bit here. So these are all the folks that are with us today. You heard me say their names. These are our logistics. Like I said, please feel free to raise your hand. And like I was saying, to start framing the meeting, we'll hope you get a better understanding of the infrastructure in your neighborhood, learn about some of the program challenges the Smart Sewer program's hoping to solve, understand how this project specifically will affect your neighborhood, and then provide feedback on how your community, some of the considerations you have during the construction period. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brian Hess, who's already made a huge impact on this meeting by getting the slides going.
Well, thank you, Drew. I appreciate it. Again, I'm Brian Hess. I'm the Smart Sewer Division Head with KC Water. And I just want to give a quick overview of what we do at KC Water, and specifically with the Smart Sewer division of KC Water. We do have three unique utilities in KC Water that make up our KC Water breadth, I guess you would say. So we cover the drinking water, so the production of that comes out through our distribution system and into the homes and businesses. And then we also have the wastewater collection and wastewater treatment. Those are segregated into the combined sewer and the separate sanitary sewer, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And we also have the stormwater collection systems as well. Next slide. Just to speak a little bit about the sewer systems that we do have within the city, the combined sewer system is shown in the green, or shown in the blue here on the map, and that makes up it's the older sewers within the city, dating back to the mid 1800s, 1857. We have about a little over 1,000 miles of pipe, and it covers about 58 square miles. Like I said, usually you can find these combined sewers in the older areas of the city. Outside of that, the systems that are the separate sewer systems cover about 260 square miles. So the majority of our systems, 1,750 miles of pipe, and then those systems date back to the 1960s. They were separate. So what that means is the wastewater that is collected in those systems goes directly to the wastewater treatment plants. In the combined systems, they are collecting both wastewater and stormwater. And the next slide here gives us a little bit of an understanding of what that means. So in the combined system, how this works is that the house and or business is connected to the combined wastewater and stormwater system. So that carries both wastewater and also the stormwater within our system. So the older parts of towns constructed, part of town that was constructed early on, used the same pipes to make this conveyance system. So as we get stormwater and wastewater combined in this system, the lower flows of wastewater only, what we call dry weather flows, actually are routed to the wastewater treatment plant. But when we have larger rain events or rain events that meet certain parameters within those systems that would create an overflow, those then tend to overflow and would go to a river or stream that would cause some of that wastewater or that system to get diluted, but also get into our waterway system. Next slide. So the separate sewer system, which is the newer systems, are separated into stormwater flows that capture that stormwater and take it directly to the rivers and creeks. And then the wastewater system is separated so that that flow only goes to our treatment facilities. So they are indeed separated between those two systems. Next slide. So some of the challenges that we have as it relates to these systems, we have both in combined and separate sewer systems, but we do have overflows that can occur during wet weather, as we showed on that slide. Those systems are combined, and therefore when we do have wet weather flow, there is that tendency to have wastewater that will exit the system instead of going to treatment. The aging infrastructure, we have, as you saw, 1860s pipe systems in place. A lot of them are brick and deteriorating and obviously need to be updated and upgraded. We can have sewer backups as it relates to some of these issues with the aging structures and the way things operate. And then, of course, poor water quality can result from those overflows and combinations of flows being sent to those rivers, streams, and lakes. The rates that we had previously or historically have not been able to keep up with the need for replacement and upgrading of these systems. And we have, within the Smart Sewer program, put together a program that will go out to 2040 and beyond to address a lot of these issues. Next slide, please. So the Smart Sewer program, we have many planned improvements. This is the program that's been set up as a result of the consent decree that EPA has with Kansas City. And recently we were able to refine that program and be able to put together with our latest modification of that consent decree, the program that will allow us to move forward out to 2035 and beyond in order to implement improvements that will help alleviate some of these water quality issues that we can run into with combined systems. So we have green infrastructure that we will be putting in place in a number of different areas within our system to be able to capture and slow down and treat some of that runoff that would otherwise inundate our combined system. We plan on separating sewers. This project's one of those that are falling into that type of category. We'll be improving our sewer capacities, which will be enlarging pipes and parallel pipes and so forth, newer systems. Inflow and infiltration reduction, that's improvements that we do to help alleviate getting wet weather flows through and into our separate sewer systems that can help, that result in reductions in capacity at our treatment plant. So the pump station and treatment plant upgrades and improvements help to capture and gather some of that flow that we can't always keep up with at this point. Our total program over the life of this, at this point through 2035, is estimated to cost about $2.3 billion. So a lot of improvements that will need to be in place and that we're working on diligently. Next slide, please. So as we implement this program, you can see we have in the combined sewer system a lot of different types of projects that we're trying to put into place. Green infrastructure, sewer separation, and others are, just jumped ahead, there you go, are types of projects that throughout our systems will help prevent those wet weather overflows, reduce the number that we have, and then help us to get to that water quality benefits that we want to have in place, where the streams and rivers and such are much cleaner. In 2030, we'll be looking at what further measures plans, what we have done up to that point and before, and understand what we do beyond 2035 and any kind of changes that we need to make in order to use the most up-to-date technologies or the best solutions that we found through our history to this point, and then to 2030 to be able to implement these things cost effectively. Next slide. I think that gets us into our 15th Street pump station upgrade and sewer separation project. Willie Williams is our project manager on that. So at this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Willie.
Sure. Thanks, Brian. So the 15th Street pump stations and sewer separation project is in line kind of with what Brian talked about. It's a combined sewer project, and the goal is to separate sewers in the area, all in an attempt and an effort to reduce the chances of a combined sewer overflow. And so the reason why this project is named 15th Street Pump Station Upgrade and Sewer Separation, originally we were considering two options. The first option was, are we going to do a pump station upgrade? So there's a pump station down under the Truman Road Viaduct at about 15th and Crystal. And so we were considering upgrading that pump station or increasing the capacity of that pump station to be able to handle more flow and therefore be able to pump that to the treatment plant instead of having that increased flow just go out to the river. So we compared that to the cost effectiveness of actually doing sewer separation in the area, and we decided to go that route of doing sewer separation. So the area of this project, you can kind of see from this diagram, there's Truman Road right there. It pretty much goes from Bennington. Bennington's pretty much its most western boundary, down to the Blue River to the east, to the right of the screen. You can kind of see where the Blue River is, just along Truman Road. And down closer to the river, we also have a portion of the project that we're putting a new gravity line that goes from where the 15th Street pump station currently is to the 12th Street pump station. And the reason we're doing that is because when we separate the sewers in this project, we're going to also decommission the 15th Street pump station, and the sanitary flows that were previously going to that station, which are currently going there now, will be then directed to the 12th Street pump station. And so this, you can kind of see that towards the top right of this boundary is that where that gravity line will go up to the 12th Street pump station. It's not indicated on the drawing, but just kind of right up there on 12th Street where that boundary ends, there's another pump station that pumps to our wastewater treatment plant in the area. And so all the dry weather flow, which is not much for the area, will be conveyed there, and it'll be pumped to the treatment plant. In the other area here on Truman Road, we're going to separate our sewers, and we're going to have new storm sewers, and we're also going to do some rehab work to some of the sanitary sewer system in that area as well. Next slide, please. So this is a good diagram of kind of the existing sewer infrastructure. You can see what the blue indicates the existing storm inlets, and these are just inlets that collect storm water whenever it rains. I mean, you see them on the street, they're on the curb. These are probably what people see the most, these in manholes. And you can see the purple circles kind of indicate where we have manholes at. And you can see a lot of these existing inlets are really close to our combined sewer, which is the purple lines, and it's because they're connected in there. And so, again, a good portion of this project will be separating that out, putting new storm sewers in there, and then connecting those existing storm inlets to our new storm system. You can also see where the existing storm lines are in the area. You can see there is pretty much not many. There's one right there. And so when this project is done, there'll be more than just that. And this will be all broken out, and it won't all be combined sewer. Also, what's not shown on here, I don't think, or at least it's not indicated, there's also some private flow that currently goes into the existing combined sewer system, which we're not removing it on this project, but whenever Keep Out the Rain, I don't know if Brian mentioned that, I don't think he did, but there's a Keep Out the Rain portion of the Smart Sewer program that will be coming back at some point soon, I think. And with that, it'll be more separation, pretty much disconnecting illicit connections, and that'll be just further separation that will happen in this area. Next slide, please. So what work's being performed? So general overview, we are separating approximately, it's about 22 acres of the city's combined sewer. And like I mentioned before, we're redirecting the sanitary flows that are currently going to the 15th Street pump station. We're redirecting them to the 12th Street pump station. Simultaneously, we will be decommissioning the existing 15th Street pump station, which is again under the Trimmer Road Viaduct right at 15th and Crystal. And so the work, again, we've got notice to proceed for the contractor. We've started working on some of the preliminary stuff for construction. We're working to get like preliminary photos scheduled for the area, so you might see some of that happening in the area here pretty soon. But pretty much construction starts this month, and it'll go until the end of October of 2022. So a little bit over 12 months. Hopefully, maybe we'll get done before then, who knows? But the goal is that's our project schedule for now. And like I said, we'll try to do our best to get it done as fast and efficient as possible to just kind of get out of the way. Next slide, please. And so community benefits. So Brian definitely touched on this. What sewer separation does, it improves the stormwater collection and conveyance. So during those big storm events, we're going to have an actual sewer system that can convey those and reduce the likelihood of ponding that may happen in the street. I know Trimmer Road's it's got a pretty steep grade going from west to east, so it probably isn't much ponding there, but if there was any, this will help improve some of it. Also improve the reliability of the water distribution system. That kind of goes into some similar thing with the stormwater conveyance and also just conveying sanitary flow. This project will help the reliability of the system. We're going to be doing some rehab to the existing sewer that's there now that will eventually be the sanitary sewer exclusively. And so that will increase the reliability there. Also, we're going to plant some streetscape, which we'll talk a little bit more about that. It's kind of a green infrastructure component that I think is pretty neat. It'll certainly bring some beauty to the area. And finally, the ultimate goal here, it improves water quality of the local streams by reducing the chances of combined sewer overflows. So that's what we're kind of marching towards with the program, and this certainly helps by doing this project. Next slide, please. And so for this slide, Colleen Connor, the design professional with GBA, is on, and she's going to discuss some of the upgraded sewer infrastructure that will be happening.
Thanks, Willie. I think everybody's kind of really touched on the overall project and what we're going to accomplish here. So you can see the blue shading again indicating the project area, and then the blue lines indicate the new storm sewer that will be installed. So at Bennington there in front of the fire station, The new storm sewer is on the north side of the street, and then at Ewing we cross over, and then new storm sewer on the south side of the street. Once we get down to the viaduct, we have storm sewer on both sides of that viaduct because we didn't want to cross through the big retaining wall that is there. You'll see it's hard to tell in there. There's a little diagonal line just west of the UP Railroad that shows some new sanitary sewer that will be installed as part of this project on the west side of those railroad tracks. And then we jump over to the east side of the UP Railroad tracks, and what was once the combined sewer 30-inch pipe that goes out to the river, it will be disconnected from the sanitary sewer as we had indicated, and it will be only storm sewer then going to the river. And then on the north side of the street, we'll be having the new sanitary sewer installed along Truman Road, and then it'll go diagonal along the Blue River up to the 12th Street pump station, as Willie had indicated. And then it's a little bit hard to see in the figure, but along with the new storm sewer and the new sanitary sewer, there is also some rehabilitation of the existing sewer that's there to give it a longer life for the neighborhood. And of course, the decommissioning of the pump station there at the river, and abandonment of the existing force main that goes back to the interceptor sewer. I think that captures everything. Go ahead to the next slide. And then also, as Willie and others had mentioned, we have the streetscape enhancements just to improve the water quality in the area, improve some storm sewer capture, where we are adding in these tree pits along Truman Road from Bennington down to Ewing. So those will incorporate underground chambers that kind of help filter the storm water coming in, and then they will also be connected to the new storm sewer. Next slide.
So, sure, yeah, I'll take this one back. So also on the presentation is Chris and Mike Akins with She Digs It, and they are the construction contractor that's been selected and given notice to proceed, and they're kind of going to touch on what you can expect during construction.
Yeah, this is Mike. As they've showed up on the slide on there, you know, we are going to have large equipment in the area. You know, there's going to be a lot of trucks coming in, trucks coming out. It's going to be noisy. You know, we're going to handle the dust to the best of our ability, but you know, there will be a little bit of dust involved in it. There will be temporary lane closures. You know, the crossing the intersections on Truman Road is going to be a little bit touchy, as well as the ramps that go down under the viaduct. We'll probably have to have flaggers in some portions of the work to get everybody in and out. You know, we don't plan on having anyone shut out where they can't get into their businesses for any substantial length of time. I know that there is one or two businesses that will have to build a temporary entrance for them to get in while we're doing the construction that needs to be done. And really, there shouldn't be any major sewer disruptions. You know, we'll be bypass pumping where we can. There are a couple of locations where we have water relocates to be done, and depending on where you're located on the project, you know, there'll be a few periods of water shutdown. We don't foresee those being a tremendous length of time. I mean, typically when we're doing test shuts and water tie-ins, you can expect your water to be shut down for 3-4 times at the most for, you know, 2 to 4 hours at a time. And we will notify you guys, you know, well in advance of when we're going to do that. I mean, and you know, it is construction. There's things happen. You know, on the occasion that we break a water main, and we unexpectedly break a water main, should I say, you know, we'll have to shut it down immediately and fix it as soon as we possibly can. But you know, we don't plan on doing that. So if it happens, you won't have any notification. The water will just be shut off for a short period of time while we fix it as fast as we possibly can. Other than that, I mean, it's just a typical construction project, I mean, there's going to be some inconveniences, but we'll try to keep those down to a minimum and keep everybody as happy and getting in and out as we possibly can.
Okay, next slide. Thanks, Mike. And what I can tell you guys about Mike's the man when it comes to fixing emergency repairs. So if something does happen, we've got the best guy to do that. So it's good for us. Going forward, so you guys will be able to stay informed during construction. Property owners, as we've indicated, we will make sure you guys are getting notifications from the contractor prior to construction in your specific area. And also we have this web page that our public outreach team has done a wonderful job building that you can access with the QR code there, or you can just use the link that is provided. Next slide, please. And during construction, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to people here. You probably should start with Joel, who's going to be our resident project RPR. But any of the people you have on this list, Brian Hess is, of course, he's the Smart Sewer Division head, so he's probably the last person. We're going to do our best to keep anything from getting to Brian. If stuff's getting to Brian, then I've dropped the ball somewhere. So just
I'm happy to take any questions, though. Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. So we're going to do our best to just, like I say, keep any issues at a minimum and get out of your way as soon as possible. Like Mike indicated, it is construction and we understand that it is inconvenient, but ultimately this is for the betterment of the city, Kansas City, and for this project specifically, your neighborhood. So again, we're happy to be working and doing this work, and we have confidence that we will do this successfully.
All right. Thanks, Willie. Well, with that, we have a little bit of time for discussion, questions. I didn't see any in the chat during the meeting, but if you do have any questions at this point, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask the team any questions. All right, then I'll start with a question for the attendees here. So are there any ways that you'd want to hear about this project as we go forward? What's the best way to keep you all updated on the project?
No.
For the fire department, just email would be fine.
Thank you, Peter. Any other major concerns during construction?
Just speaking this again with the fire department. The only other thing I would is when we're working in front of the apron, that we'll be able to keep a portion of it open at all times.
Willie, I'm sure you're noting that down. That's good feedback. And I see Megan Dwayne has put the project information in the chat, so if anybody has any questions, there's a place to submit your questions there as well. But otherwise, a lot of the information from this presentation is there and you can access it at any time. So unless there are further comments from Willie or the team.
Well,
Brian?
I'll mention, go ahead. Sorry, Brian, you had something?
I was just going to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. And again, Willie and others, thank you for getting this information out there so that folks can find the right connection to be able to ask questions when we need to.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to working in your community. And you have the information to contact Willie and the team if any questions arise. So with that, I'll just say go Chiefs. We'll hopefully get it turned around, and have a nice week this week. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks.